What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp. It is November 9th. We are headed towards AEW Full Gear November 13th. If you're outside of the U.S., I have a contest pinned to my Twitter page right now where you can enter to win a chance to watch for free. But if you're not, you just want to follow along our coverage, I will be on the site of Full Gear this weekend. We got the scrums. We've got all kinds of exclusive news coming your way. And the fella picking me up from the airport there, a Minnesota native, we got Rob Wilkins. Rob, how you doing?
What is up? I am doing great. I cannot wait for this weekend. It's my first AEW show. It's going to be a blast.
You've also got a very helpful guide that you've posted on Twitter a couple of times. You've updated it for people local to the area. I definitely recommend checking that out, guys. Send him some love. Send us some love. Leave us a thumbs up. Subscribe. Tap that bell for notifications. And you can donate your Humper Chats at this link on Streamlabs. You can also still donate on YouTube, but we encourage the Humper Chats over on Streamlabs. Make sure you check that out. You can actually leave them if you're not going to be watching the shows live. You can leave those chats ahead of time, and you can get them read on the air. We've decided to do that to make it a little bit more convenient for you guys. But this show brought to you by helixsleep.com/Fightful. Head over there, take their 2-minute quiz, get matched up to the perfect mattress for you. Try it 100 nights risk-free. They'll come and pick it up free of charge if you don't like it. helixsleep.com/Fightful. Reese says, when did the chats become Humper? So YouTube takes a gigantic cut of the super chats. So we decided to implement this option and to differentiate them. We have super chats on YouTube and Humper chats over on Streamlabs. So we hope you all will check it out. Rob, what show are you most looking, or what match are you most looking forward to on the show?
Well, I think I'm going to say something other than Kenny Omega versus Adam Page, and it just became official this past Friday, and that's none other than Eddie Kingston versus CM Punk. That is a dream match for me that I never thought I'd ever see. So here we go.
So let's jump right into that. CM Punk versus Eddie Kingston. Admittedly, I thought the way that the promo started last Friday, I didn't like it. It was, I want my apology. And Phil Brooks ain't Phil Lindsay. He ain't getting that apology. But Eddie Kingston was like, I got the tiniest violin playing your song. And I was like, eh. And then like within a minute and a half, I go, oh, okay. This is good. This is something I want to see. And Eddie Kingston straight up said, I don't care if I beat you. I want to beat you up. I want to make you feel pain for trying to humiliate me, for trying to embarrass me. That leads me to believe Punk's going to win this match. But Eddie Kingston's one of those guys that doesn't necessarily have to win. Like, so much of him is his heart, as Bryan Danielson pointed out. How do you think this one goes?
I think you are exactly right. CM Punk's going to win, but he's going to just get destroyed. And he's not going to look too pretty after that match, I don't think. I think they're both going to be pretty red. And you're right. Eddie Kingston does not have to win this match. And he's going to just, it's going to be brutal. I think it's just going to be an outstanding match. And I think both guys are going to have a hard time the next day walking around.
Yeah, we're starting to see Punk get more acclimated to different styles. And what we've seen out of Punk's matches so far are different styles pretty often. And this is going to be very violent, and I can't wait for it. We have Falls Count Anywhere, the Super Click, Adam Cole and Young Bucks against Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Christian Cage. Christian Cage got his initial push. He worked his way up, won the Impact title, got his pay-per-view match with Kenny Omega. Seems like he's on the descent now, and that's okay because that's where he is in his career. He's still a name that holds a lot of value. Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus obviously do as well. To me, this should probably end with Adam Cole getting a big pin over Christian Cage, actually, I think. It was very clear that Adam Cole was setting up a match with Jungle Boy when he first came in, because you always get the dream match questions. Any interview I do, I say, what questions do you all want? And as cliche and as much as I hate it, there's always the dream match. Who's the dream match? Who's the dream match? He would say Jungle Boy. Now they're wrestling each other on pay-per-view. I think it's going the Super Clicks way. How do you feel?
For the longest time, I was thinking that the Super Click would go over. However, with that tag team match, the 8-man tag match the other week against the Dark Order, they kind of hinted about Adam Cole and Kenny Omega. So I'm kind of wondering if they're going to push that a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I'm going to lean. I'm actually going to go with Christian and Jurassic Express.
Interesting.
It's one of those things where I could absolutely see if Super Click wins, Adam Cole's going to be the one that pins, and I think Christian's the guy that he will pin. I think you're exactly right. If they win, but I think they should go the route of Omega versus Cole. I think that's the way to go.
We've got MJF against Darby Allin. One of the interesting things about MJF is he is that heel in which everything he says, like, you might not like it, but it's usually either subjective or it's true. He's never been pinned like clean as a sheet, one-on-one. There's been some stuff there. And for a guy that doesn't lose, he's not in the title picture because he never wrestles, Rob. The joke is that he made his quarterly wrestling obligation on Dynamite recently. I feel like Darby could win, and this could be a big feather in his cap. I could see this being a long-term like feud they go back to over and over again. But really, I feel like that about every one of MJF's feuds because he gets me so invested in it. Ultimately, I'm going MJF, but I wouldn't be surprised if Darby Allin wins.
Yes, and the thing is Darby's going to be popular with whatever happens with him. It's kind of going back to the CM Punk, Eddie Kingston thing. It doesn't matter, like, for Eddie Kingston. I think I don't want to pick against MJF. I love the direction that he's still going. You're right. He doesn't wrestle much, but there's a plan behind that for him. There's a scheme. However, there has been hints and more hints of him and Wardlow having issues.
Yes.
So I am going to go with Darby Allin, and I think we're going to get a little bit closer to MJF versus Wardlow. I think they're trying to push it. I think Wardlow could be an absolute huge star in this business, in this business. I really do. And I'm hoping that Darby wins because that's the direction I want to see him go. So we're going to go that route.
Kylie says just a little bit because I love Fightful. Reminder, guys, you can get your super chats in. You can get your humper chats in. It's the link at the top of our YouTube chat. Pretty soon we'll have an all-in-one URL where you all can just type it in and go there and leave stuff. We have the Inner Circle against Men of the Year and American Top Team. This is Junior Dos Santos, Andrei Arlovski, Dan Lambert, Ethan Page, and Scorpio Sky. I'll let you guys who are tuning in right now in a little secret. The interview that I'm supposed to have Friday morning is Ethan Page, if all things go well. Very excited about this because we actually filmed an interview earlier this year that nobody saw. So I finally get to speak to him on camera. Then I'll be rushing to the airport to fly to Minnesota. Dan Lambert was always the end game here. And spoiler alert for a lot of you guys, this is always the end game. Wherever he goes, like MLW or Impact, like you want to get your hands on Dan Lambert. This is interesting to me for many reasons. Rob, you do the Fightful Fight Night watch-alongs with myself, Doug, Steven very often. I spoke to Tom Lawler about how UFC kind of threw a fit that he walked out with Red Dragon years ago at an RH show. Dana White has said in the past he had no clue what Masvidal was doing in AEW. We don't see a lot of UFC fighters make that crossover while they're under contract. I'll have to look back. I don't know if an active UFC fighter has competed in a pro wrestling match except for like maybe Brock Lesnar. This is rarefied air, but this has to be the Inner Circle, and it has to be Dan Lambert taking the pin, and then Dan Lambert's got to hit the bricks.
Yes, I agree with that. Going back to the wrestler like being under contract? Like, I know that was Bellator, but would I think it was Bellator, Jake Hager, like from mixed, or was he not under?
He wasn't under UFC contract. It's Bellator.
Oh, okay. You said UFC.
Bellator is much more lax about that.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot you said UFC, so that makes sense. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Minneapolis street fight. I come from the mean streets of Minneapolis. Sorry, I don't.
Wait, aren't Hawk and Animal from there?
Yeah, well, that's where they're. Yeah,
and Rick Rude and Kurt Hennig, like they do seem like pretty mean suburbs, at least.
Yeah. They and the Minneapolis street fight. I'm kind of curious to see. They're going to leave the ring, obviously, because they wouldn't call it a street fight, and I really, really hope they go across the street to First Avenue, the famous club that Prince basically did all his concerts at back in the day, Purple Rain. That's where I hope they end up at, but we'll have to see. You're right on the money. Dan Lambert will get pinned, and I think it's going to be Sammy that pins him.
Yeah.
Yep.
I could see that as well. I could see that as well. We have the Lucha Bros against FTR, the AEW World Tag Team Championship. This is after FTR won the AAA titles. I think Lucha Brothers are winning this. I'm not keen on the 50-50, but this is a 50-50 with stakes. It's not a 50-50 just to do it, but I think Lucha Brothers are going to win this. Kylie says, have a humper chat as well, because I can. Thank you so much. We greatly appreciate you for that. What do you think about this one? I think it's pretty elementary. The Lucha Brothers are winning this.
I think you're right. However, I will never, ever go against FTR. And the reason is I'm huge fans. The last time I got to see FTR was at the Target Center when they wrestled New Day at the TLC 2019. And they had that ladder match, that fantastic ladder match against the New Day. So I already know they know it's going to be great. This match is going to be fantastic, but I'm going with my guys, FTR. They are going to win those titles.
We got a super chat from Chris Raines, a very generous one. Thank you so much, Chris. You've donated an awful lot to us this month. Just finished the Players Tribune article from Eddie Kingston, and just wow. If anyone hasn't read it yet, it's a must read. It is really good. It is emotional. It is real. I love the Players Tribune thing. I mean, we do that with Fightful. We do the Wrestlers Tribune every issue. We've got a bunch of those coming. We got Shaza McKenzie in FightfulMag.com. We've had the former Damian Sandow. We've had Cody Deaner. A lot of people who maybe you don't hear them verbally a lot dive in. And when they get to, like Eddie Kingston did, oh, it is so good. A lot of people say, like, how can he be heel after this? Heel is in your actions, not necessarily your background. It's how you move on from that. I think Rob has frozen up on us here. But the heel stuff is more in how you respond to what somebody else does. We'll wait for Rob to get back as he is frozen up, but we'll go ahead and make some more predictions. Reminder, helixsleep.com/Fightful. Send them a tweet at Helix Sleep. Let them know you heard about them from us. Bryan Danielson versus Miro. The world title Eliminator finals. This is going to be brutal. This is going to be physical. This is going to be violent. This is what I'm looking for out of both of these guys. Miro is exactly who we thought he was. And there's two lines of thought here. It is Miro's the heel, so of course he's going to win because of what will happen in the main event. However, I don't think that's necessarily true. I think what AEW does, instead of making babyface heel matchups, I think they just make big matchups that people care about. It doesn't have to be babyface heel. It can be guy versus guy, girl versus girl, and just play off your emotions and how much you care about it. Miro, Bryan Danielson, who do you see winning and why?
I think Danielson's going to go over. I think when they added Miro to this, I was intrigued, but the his whole like talking to like he's the God's favorite athlete or favorite wrestler. I think Danielson is just getting so much hype behind him, and I don't think you want to go away from that right now. I really don't. He has just been badass, and I just don't think you go away from that. I think do I think it's going to bring him into with Adam Page or Kenny Omega? I don't know if he's going right there, but I think you have to keep it going. And I'm going to say Bryan Danielson wins.
And I mean, so it's November 13th. I'm trying to look the last time Kenny Omega defended his title, because I think a lot of this plays on to when the match will be. And Kenny Omega last defended his title 2 months ago. So about once every couple of months, because before that he had not defended the title since late June. They are not a defend the title once a month company. They are defend it every couple of months, ideally. Sometimes with more regularity. I think there's a good possibility that this title doesn't get defended until their big beginning of the year show.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do a big beginning of the year show, I could absolutely see them headlining it with Adam Hangman Page versus Bryan Danielson to pop a rating.
Yes.
To get big numbers as well.
That was my thinking behind it too. They're going to have that big show I believe it was like on a Saturday, right? Or was it? I think they're planning on a Saturday night. So, yeah, I think that's the way to go.
Zero says they haven't stated the winner will be next, have they? It's just they get the match in the future. Correct. Sebastian sent a humper chat. Big thank you. He says if Paige Van Zant wants to become a pro wrestler, she's a future in the biz. She has stage presence and charisma. She does, but she's got to be able to do it in the ring. You got to be able to do it in the ring above all else. She does have presence and charisma. It's very natural. It's better than I even thought it would be, and I've watched her for years. The look is something that is very important, but Kayla Harrison has a lot of that stuff. Like, she's got the presence and the attitude, and she straight up said, "No, I don't want to do that. I'm not doing that anymore." Yeah, Van Twinblade says street fights are no DQ. Paige takes out Jericho for being a prick, and that distracts Lambert for Sammy to get the pin. Ooh, maybe. What do you think about that one?
I like that idea. I do. I think they need. I would love that to happen. I think that'd be great.
We also have Antoine saying, love listening to all the podcasts on Fightful Select while at work. Best wrestling service out there. Looking forward to Kingston Punk the most after the promo. Thank you for the kind words. FightfulSelect.com. I have had a bunch of you asking me what is up with Up, Up, Down, Down. All of you gaming fans and just Up, Up, Down, Down fans. I found out, and it is, I don't know how else to put it. It's pretty juicy, pretty interesting. It'll be up on FightfulSelect.com this afternoon, as will producer info from Monday Night Raw. Just ahead of Monday Night Raw last night, we broke the news that AJ Styles would be back, that MVP would be back, that there'd be a 5-way match for the top contendership. We had a bunch of the Raw plans, so we've been getting a lot of that information before Raw, before SmackDown. Subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. You get 7 weekly podcast shows as well. If you're into indie wrestling outside of WWE, Raw or SmackDown, I've got a Q&A show. There's a figure hall show. A lot of stuff there, FightfulSelect.com. Kyle Collins says, showed up late, was reading Eddie's Player Tribune piece. It was amazing. Highly recommend if you haven't read it. We have, and we covered it. It is a must read. You got to read that Players Tribune article. I absolutely love it. Got a couple more matches to talk about. Dr. Britt Baker, D.M.D. against Ty Conti, AEW Women's Championship. I don't see any way Britt Baker loses this. The end game has got to be Thunder Rosa for me. Got to be Thunder Rosa.
Absolutely. I think when she came out at Rampage this past week, that's when I knew, I already figured that Britt Baker was going to win this, but that's when I knew Thunder Rosa is next. So we're both huge. We're both huge Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa fans.
Yeah.
Give it to me.
I don't even know if Thunder Rosa is next. And the reason why I don't think she's next is I think that she loses in the tournament, the TBS title tournament. That's what I think happens. Or if she ends up winning it, that keeps her away from Britt Baker a little bit longer. I think Thunder Rosa versus Dr. Britt Baker 2 is AEW Double or Nothing, Las Vegas. I think that's the big audience there, because I think Thunder Rosa, she got pinned in the match against Jade Cargill. I think she loses in the tournament as well, and I think that gives you enough, like 2 losses within a couple months, to keep her away from Britt Baker a little bit longer. And I haven't looked at the rankings. Let me look at those, and I don't pay that much attention to them, but I do think that plays quite a bit into it. Yeah, she's number 3. So if she loses again, she might fall behind Statlander, who's 18-2, Nyla Rose, who's 22-5. There's a possibility. Jade, I think, will become the champion, but I think there's enough to keep her away from Britt Baker for a little bit longer, and I think they'll probably do a battle royal in the interim to determine a top contender, or a ladder match or something like that. But Britt Baker's winning this match. She's got to win this match.
Yes. Yep. Yep. You're right on with that. Britt Baker's going to win, and it's probably the. I love how far Tay Conti's gone in her career since she's been in AEW.
Yeah,
and I just don't see how they go away from Britt right now. It's something I can't see. I just don't see it.
Vineet says, when do you see Kenny Omega, CM Punk happening in AEW? Probably next year. I think that could be one at Double or Nothing as well. I think that's one. Well, let's talk about the main event. Kenny Omega versus Adam Hangman Page. I think that you get the people really close to what they want, and then you take it from them in the name of heat, Rob.
Yes.
Heat.
Yeah. He's going to lose that title in Virginia. He was a good run.
Hangman Page has got to win this. He has to win this. I do not understand people that say Kenny Omega should just keep him from it a little bit longer. It's a 3-year story, and I mean it. Whether it was intended to be a 3-year story or not, I don't know. It could have meant to have been a couple weeks story. Adam Hangman Page showed up at that first presser and said, I want to be AEW champion. Pac walked out and said, no, mate, it's going to be me. Everybody saw what was going on here, Rob. They saw that he's not the Young Bucks. He's not Kenny Omega. He's not Cody Rhodes. So he's not an EVP. But what he is their boy.
Yes.
So what they have spent the last 2.5 years doing is, one, establishing, no, there won't be nepotism here, because he is their boy. He loses that title match. He is put in a tag team, which is not a step back. He loses the top contender match. And not only that, like, along the way, he gets more and more over because that nepotism isn't shown. It's established that he wants to be far away from these guys. He doesn't want to have anything to do with the Young Bucks. He doesn't interact with Cody. He doesn't interact with Kenny Omega for a long time. He's out there feuding with Matt Hardy, and people are still cowboy shit. So it's like they do so well at this, and this is the payoff. This is what you work for. It's perfect. Hangman Page should win this.
Absolutely. And I'm not saying that it's going to be like as emotional as WrestleMania for Daniel Bryan, but this is going to make AEW fans just happy as they can be. They have been rooting for Adam Page since the beginning, and it's his time. You have to give it to him. Give him that title, let him run, and hand him the ball. He's ready. He is ready. He's going to win that title, and I think he's going to be a great champion.
I think I don't think it's time. It is time. It is absolutely time. Yeah. It's got to happen. It's going to be a great moment. So excited for it. Throwback says Bryan versus Omega versus Punk at All Out would be major. That would be good. I think they don't do a ton of triple threat matches near the top, but I think that'd be very good. I think that Hangman Page should be the person to kick out of the One-Winged Angel as well.
Ooh, yes.
I think that should happen. That's when, to me, the ideal finish of the match is Like what I would do, I would even maybe establish a tiny bit of friction with Dark Order and Hangman this week. Like Hangman's got a lot on his mind. He's putting a lot of pressure on himself. Maybe he pushes him away a little bit. But then the night of All Out, or the night of Full Gear, the Elite is trying to come out and his buddies block him. His buddies block him, run him out. You do the quick gang wars thing. And then while Hangman's looking off, Omega puts him up in the one-winged angel, hits the one-winged angel, and then the 2.99999, Hangman gets his shoulder up, and Omega is beside himself. And then you go to the finish. And then the Dark Order's out there with him on his shoulders, Hangman Page on their shoulders, celebrating. That's the perfect finish for me.
There you go. Go with that WrestleMania 10 ending.
There you go. Throwback says, listening and at work. Thank you guys for being awesome. Well, thank you, Throwback. We appreciate you. We always love seeing you here, buddy. We hope to see you guys here this weekend. Kate will be hosting the Friday show with TK Trinidad. We've got William Washington of Grapsody with Jeremy Lambert after Full Gear. I'll be doing the scrums, and I'm going to be trying to get that footage up. I'm going to be live streaming it here on youtube.com/Fightful, but I'm also going to try to get the individual scrums up that night as well. Rob, tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at Rob Wilkins. Otherwise, tonight I'll be doing live coverage of NXT right here on Fightful.com. And then also on tomorrow night, I'll be covering Dynamite. And I usually cover Rampage, but I'll be at Rampage this week. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Until next time, guys, we're out.